Hello, my friend, and welcome to another episode of the Champions Adjust sports talk show. My name is Aaron Mashpitz. It seems that Tom Brady has got himself involved in another cheating scandal. We know Tom Brady is one of, if not the greatest football player of all time. In my opinion, it's Jerry Rice and Tom Brady are the two greatest football players of all time. We know probably Tom Brady is the best of the last 20 years from what he did with the Patriots, with Bill Belichick, and of course, the one Super Bowl he won with the Buccaneers. But during Tom Brady's time with the Patriots, there were many scandals and there are many gates, a lot of gates, too many gates to sort of remember. There's all this gate and that gate and this gate and that, all these sorts of gates because they were trying to win at all costs. Now, if you don't understand professional sports are about winning. Winning creates money, and sports are about making money. It's sports entertainment, and entertainment comes down to money. So every team, no matter if they get caught or not, no matter if they win or not, is trying to get the upper hand in any way humanly possible. Now, the Patriots got caught with some stuff. Why, the Astros were cheated. Nothing happened to them, but they did cheat to win the World Series. Sports are about getting the upper hand, no matter the cost. Because if you don't get caught, you end up winning something, and winning then creates money. So you're willing to sort of risk it all for the thing. The thing is to win the championship. And the Patriots did a lot of that. They won a lot of championships with all their gates and scandals and this and that surrounding Tom Brady, surrounding Bill Belichick, surrounding the Patriots. But it is what it is. It's in the history now. And we know Tom Brady and Jerry Rice, greatest football players of all time. I love Tom Brady. And what I really love about Tom Brady, specifically in studying his career, is his mindset. I absolutely love his mindset. And when Tom Brady does something, it's 100% full commitment. And he learned that at Michigan with the sports psychologist that he worked with. And so Tom Brady, that's that's Tom Brady's edge, right? His edge wasn't his physical ability. His edge wasn't like he had more talent than anyone else. His edge was his mindset, the way he thought about the game, his preparation, his work ethic, and his commitment. And that's not something you can just turn off, right? You can't just turn that off and then just like become a normal person in the world, right? So Tom Brady needed something to do post his NFL playing career, which leads us to now what's happening now, right? We know Tom Brady signed a deal with Fox to be their number one commentator, $375 million. I believe he knocked Greg Olsen out of that spot. And we saw Tom Brady in his first year. He wasn't very good. He's still not a very good commentator. I prefer Greg Olsen, right? Really love Tom. I love hearing his insights about the game and how soft he thinks the NFL has gotten. And of course, he knows the ins and outs. He knows the X and O's. Of course, he can read defenses probably like and nobody else's business. His preparation was supreme above everyone else's, but maybe he just has a hard time explaining it, or maybe he really doesn't just love doing the commentating. Maybe he'd still rather be on the field. And so he signed that deal with Fox. He had 1 year under his belt, and then he becomes a minority owner of the Raiders, of the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he maybe owns 5% of that organization. And so now we lead to today. What's happening in the current NFL season is this controversy, is this potential cheating scandal, again, that involves Tom Brady, not as a player this time, but as a commentator and as an owner. Because on Monday Night Football, Tom Brady was seen in the coach's booth with a headset on in the coach's booth for the Raiders. Now, if he's just an owner, that's totally fine. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. He's an owner. He can talk to Chip Kelly. He can talk to Pete Carroll. But apparently he was involved heavily in the signing of Pete Carroll. And according to some news sources, he talks to Chip Kelly on a regular basis about the offense, how they run the offense. Of course, the Raiders and Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly are denying all of these claims, but you don't know how many personal conversations that Chip Kelly and Tom Brady are having throughout the week. What Chip Kelly is telling Tom Brady that to see at practice, what he sees with this, what he sees with that, how he wants to tweak this, what kind of offenses should run, the 2-minute drill, the red zone stuff. All of that stuff is happening. And of course, Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll are going to deny that, because the only reason they have to deny that is because of the conflict of interest that exists because Tom Brady is a commentator for NFL games where he goes to production meetings, he's on Zooms, he hangs out with the players, he's on the sidelines, he's getting inside information, which again would be totally cool and totally normal if his only job was to be the number one commentator for the top Fox games of the week, whatever that might be. right? Again, totally cool if he was hanging out on the sidelines, going to production meetings, right? Going to the Friday practices. And according to ex NFL players, the Friday practices are the most important practices. That's where you're really going to see the guys who are going to start on Sunday. That's where you're going to see the 2-minute drills, the special plays, the red zone offenses, who's sitting out, who's not, who's in different positions. And so sometimes the production guys get to go to those Friday practices to see who's going to be playing on Sunday when they call the big game at 4 p.m. But Tom Brady cannot go to those. He cannot be inside of the building doing that type of work because of the conflict of interest that exists with him being the part owner of the Raiders and him having inside information. This is all the same sort of stuff he was trying to do and filming practices and all these sorts of things that all NFL teams do to get the advantage. But now it seems like it's sort of out in the open. NFL has come out and said, Tom Brady hasn't violated any policies as of yet, but it does look weird. And there is a conflict of interest that exists, and we still don't know what's happening behind closed doors, right? Tom Brady's in the booth for the Raiders, calling plays, whatever he's doing. Maybe he's not calling plays. Maybe he's giving advice. Maybe he's saying do this. Maybe he's saying do that. Pete Carroll's denying it. Chip Kelly is saying they don't talk 2 to 3 times a week. Will you talk once a week? Do you talk in your personal cell every single day? And then Tom is not allowed to sort of mingle at the building, at practices and things of that nature. He's allowed to go to production meetings via Zoom and hang out and do things that way to get prepared for his NFL games that he's going to commentate for. But you need that information. You need who's going to play, who's not going to play, what should we look for from the offense, what should we look for from the defense. And the teams he comments on, the games he does the commentary for, potentially could be the teams that the Raiders end up playing. So he has that inside information. Now that causes a controversy, that causes a conflict of interest. But as of right now, the NFL has said that there is no violation of the policy right now from Tom Brady, but it does look a little sketchy. It looks a little weird. And I think at this point, Tom just needs to pick. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to do all these sorts of things, like get Tom Brady out of the booth, out of the commentary booth, get Greg Olsen back in the #1 spot. That dude is fucking really good. And he has a really good podcast about youth sports that everyone should check out, and have Tom Brady be the person he wants to be. He wants to be involved with the Raiders. He wants to make them a great team. He probably wants to be a full-time majority owner, right? He wants to have those decisions. He wants to take what he learned as the greatest NFL player of all time and impose that into an organization to create a winning culture. And I think that's where Tom Brady could be best. He understands what a winning culture looks like. He understands what it means to show up every day and prepare to be your very best and be the best at getting better and do that on a consistent basis. And how can he motivate and instill that in the younger NFL players and the guys coming up through the NFL to make the Raiders maybe a dynasty like the Patriots? But he can't do that at the same time as being in the commentary booth, because it's a controversy, it's a conflict of interest, and it looks horrible on the NFL. When you see all this gambling stuff happening and FanDuel and draft picks and this and gamble, and sports are fixed and all these types of things, it's another bad look on the NFL to have this cheating scandal surrounding Tom Brady, who's had multiple gates and cheating scandals throughout the history of his career, and it just looks bad on the NFL. And again, they have to do something about it. They have to take a concrete stand and make Tom Brady sort of decide on if he wants to be in the booth and take the $375 million deal from Fox, or if he wants to throw that away, get Greg Olsen back in the booth and be the minority owner where he can hang out with the Raiders. He can go to practices. He can do all of these things. He can do that job full time, and there's no conflict of interest. That's at least what I think. Just spitballing there about the subject. We'll see what comes out and what happens with him being a comment in the booth and him being a part owner, and what more controversy comes and what Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly have to say and what the NFL have to say, and maybe what other coaches think about the whole situation. But that's just my initial thoughts on it. I'm sure I'll discuss it more throughout the coming weeks on the Champions Adjust Sports Talk Show. But I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Then like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.